January 8th, 2023. It's the Houston Texans season finale against the Indianapolis Colts. All the Texans needed to do to land the first overall pick in the 2023 draft was to simply lose the game. Despite the team's fans and the media wanting this to happen and even going as far as to say they should do it on purpose, head coach Lovie Smith was certainly not going to throw a game on purpose, especially knowing he's probably going to get fired either way. They ended up winning the game 32-31 and missed out on a chance at the top draft pick. The Chicago Bears ended up getting it and would later trade it to the Carolina Panthers in a blockbuster deal. Not surprisingly, Lovie Smith got fired, with fans and the media pissed on his way out the door.
The Houston Texans organization are an atrocity. They are an embarrassment.
Little did anyone know that he would actually set the franchise up on the course they are currently on. With the second overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, quarterback, Ohio State.
Is Stroud officially at the MVP table?
To be honest with you, it's his. He at the MVP table by himself. This is the best quarterback playing right now in the National Football League.
He's amazing. He's like the best rookie quarterback I've ever seen.
A rookie that's playing at the MVP level. Please tell me when's the last time you've seen a rookie play at a level like this.
While it was one of many moves in an attempt to get this franchise turned around, it was certainly the most important. The Texans haven't had a franchise quarterback since that weirdo Deshaun Watson. And in a league that is now dominated by passing, if you don't have a quarterback, you have no shot. And after doing their homework, they felt they were in the right spot to select the right guy. At Ohio State, Stroud was great. See what I did there? Throwing for a little over 8,000 yards and 85 touchdowns with just 12 interceptions and a QB rating of a little over 180. Considering he only started for 2 seasons, these numbers are way more impressive than they already are. He holds many of the school's passing records, including most yards in a single game with 573, as well as being the first player to throw 6 touchdowns 3 times. And on top of all that, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist in the 2 seasons he played. So how'd this guy not get selected first overall? Well, there was another highly touted quarterback in Bryce Young coming out of the University of Alabama. There were past drafts where quarterbacks were selected with the first and second overall picks, and in most of those cases, only one of them turned out to be good. Would the 2023 draft fall under that category? Well, so far, it has. Just like in college, he's already set new records in the NFL. In Week 9 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a 39-37 victory, he set a record for most passing yards in a single game by a rookie with 470. And if that wasn't enough, he also threw 5 touchdowns. Single game records are one thing. What about his whole season? Stroud and the Texans have looked like the real deal, while Young and the Panthers have looked like a fish out of water. Along with Will Anderson Jr. on the defensive side on the ball, Stroud has led their offense to heights they haven't seen in a while. As a result, the team is good again, currently sitting 6-4 as of this recording. So regardless of if they win or lose their next game, they're gonna have a winning record either way.
From 58 yards away, it's online. Does it have the distance? No! It's short! And that close.
In his Week 12 matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he surpassed Justin Herbert for the most passing yards by a rookie in his first 11 games. From 2020 to 2022, the franchise won a combined 11 games. Already 11 games into his career, Stroud has helped them win a little more than half of that. They are currently a top 5 offense, ranking 5th in yards per game. With being on a record-setting pace, as well as showing early signs that this team could potentially make the playoffs, CJ Stroud's rookie season can maybe go down as the greatest in NFL history. While the stats are good and all, CJ Stroud has contributed much more than that, quickly establishing himself as not only one of the leaders amongst the roster, but really the franchise as a whole, because after he was drafted, he immediately requested they draft a player of his liking. How many rookie quarterbacks do that? He hasn't even been on the team team for a day. Shortly after he was drafted, he told team leadership that he wanted them to draft a specific player, and they did. With the 69th pick, they selected wide receiver and local fan favorite from the University of Houston, Tank Dell.
The Houston Texans select Nathaniel Dell, wide receiver out of Houston.
And so far, it seems to be a wise football move, as they look like the duo of the future. With Tank Dell drafted, as well as upgrading the offense with some key pieces, Stroud has been able to flourish. In the first 10 games, he has thrown for just a little under 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns with only 5 interceptions, and a QB rating of just a little over 99, as well as a 62.8 completion percentage. But there's always been this aura around him. You can trace that going back to his high school days, maybe even his whole life. There's a certain swagger quarterbacks in the NFL need to possess. For some, they keep it internally, but for quarterbacks like Stroud, they are out there with it. After getting their first home win since 2021, Stroud was immediately up front with where the trajectory of this franchise was going. That ain't flying for anybody in this building. I want them to know, like, we fighting our tails off every day to make sure y'all walk around with Texans gear pride. Y'all walk around with that swagger that we walk around with after getting the dub. And for me, I take it real personal.
I don't like being bagged on by my teams. Like, when my Lakers lose, I'll be pissed. So, I take that stuff real serious, man. And it's up to us to work every day and put the work in. And like you've seen, I mean, the Steelers fan came and they showed out today in our stadium, and we sent them home. And I think our fans felt the energy. Like, man, we ain't playing today, like from the get-go. So I just want to say, man, like, we're gonna keep fighting every day, just so y'all can walk around with that swag. I think that's huge, man, for this team. That's something that we want to keep building on, and it's a blessing to be able to be in Houston, like a great town with a lot of stuff to do, great people, Southern hospitality to its finest, and I'm falling in love with the city little by little, so it's a blessing.
Hearing that from any player is one thing, but when it's coming from a rookie that has shown signs early on that he is your franchise quarterback, it's even better. He's rejuvenated not only the franchise, but the city. Houston has had a very complex history with professional football.
That's Buddy Ryan taking a swing at Kevin Gilbride.
With the Astros winning a World Series, and for many years the Rockets being playoff contenders, the Texans for the past few seasons have given the city little to cheer for. It felt like the level of fan support was similar to the final years of the Oilers, and now in less than one season it's completely turned around. If I were a Houston Texans fan, I'd be the most excited I've ever been. You not only have a quarterback that has the talent, leadership, and swagger, but also, most importantly, the preparation. He puts in the extra time, first one in, last one to leave type stuff, but not just that, he'll even do it in his free time, specifically around 11 to midnight when he should be in bed. He's sending his wide receivers clips of the opposing defense they're gonna play and giving them ways to adjust to them. If that's not dedication, I don't know what is, but it's certainly a lot easier when you're doing something you love. From his teammates to the fans, the media, and really the entire city of Houston, CJ Stroud is currently the most loved man in that city. And while there's all this talk about why he should be in consideration for the MVP, I want you to forget about the award for a second. Sure, stats-wise, I believe he should be in that consideration, but he has been the most valuable player in terms of actual value and difference-making to a franchise. No other quarterback this season has had a bigger impact to a franchise than CJ Stroud. General Manager Nick Caserio should be proud of the team he has assembled. DeMeco Ryans his head coach, the signings on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, and especially drafting well. But without CJ Stroud, none of this comes together. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers are currently in hell, with no end to the losing in sight. Bryce Young has thrown for a little under 1,700 yards, along with 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions and a QB rating of just a little under 75. While he's struggled, you certainly can't put all the blame on him. Being sacked 36 times doesn't help, and having stuff leaked about how the team didn't really want to draft you is never a good thing. Now, we don't know if if that's true, but we do know one thing. Like I said earlier, Stroud has been the MVP in more ways than one. The future has never looked brighter for the Houston Texans. Only time will tell how far they can go, but right now, it's looking really good. But if they ever become Super Bowl contenders and win one, they need to send a ring to Lovie Smith. Because according to some, out of all of the wins in team history, including playoffs, their win against the Indianapolis Colts on January 8th, 2023 is perhaps the greatest in franchise history.